Mess Rob is going to come in the afternoon. I don't have a specific time to repair the boiler that's leaking.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm guessing it's going to be after 2 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, this is the same pattern, and this is a demon, okay? That's a psychopath that knows that you're also documenting it. So all of this is relevant facts. So what I'm capturing still images of as I'm taking a picture of the documentation of exactly what that's a demon that was intentionally crossing path right on camera in the specific environment. Like I say, prosecutorial suicide, that's exactly what I mean. The entity walks, engages in the crime, and there's going to be no question when you're arrested and you go to federal prison. There's no mystery about, oh, were you, they do it right in your face, okay? And that's also the lawlessness where you're threatening the life. That's also relevant to how long you sit in federal prison. And then you're monitoring documentation. That's also relevant to how long you sit in federal prison. And then you're maliciously engaging in it in concert with a corrupt government as a whole population in the workplace. That's also relevant to the level of malice and how long you sit in federal prison. But what I captured in still images is what I want to point out. And you're looking at, again, psychotic monitoring documentation. She's going to federal prison. That's Melania Padilla. Engaging, and she's doing the same thing that Carlo did too, knowing that I'm about to point out their demonic behavioral pattern and then engaging and replicating it, which is the same pattern of conduct. Okay. So I just want you to recognize what's also relevant to Todd Speaker and Speaker Company's federal prosecution is, again, the emotional distress, the psychological torment that is relevant to the criminal pattern of conduct where a demon-possessed population is engaged in demonic activity, which is terrorism while they're monitoring you in the workplace. So what I captured in still images, what I captured in still images is the entity crossing path, as you see so. Sure, thank you. Which is the same thing that you're saying. The entity is crossing path, and they're doing so with real-time knowledge. That is this third party coming in doing the exact same thing, demons. In still images, I'm capturing my image of the documentation. These are the demons. Carlo and Maria are the ones engaging in what is federal group stalking and monitoring in the workplace. That's exactly what you're hearing and seeing on video. Crossing in path, opening the door. This is light activity, audible activity. It's with simultaneity to literally as I start to form my sentence structures. Those demons know exactly they're coming in to monitor and want to engage in what is not only duplicating a demon's criminal purpose, is also to try to contradict. Oh, it's not because of that, because I'm going and doing it again, but I'm also monitoring you because you're engaging in what is documentation using my phone. It's all of the above. And it's entirely psychotic by a population of demons that are monitoring documentation. I take my picture of this. This is speaking to federal group stalking and monitoring in the workplace. You're going to pay attention to the time stamps. What you'll see, I take the picture seconds later, entering into the door, which is monitoring with regard to my use of my communication device. This entity, Speaker Companies in particular, they use the group chat in order to do the same thing, operation of my communication device. You see them when I do the screen recordings and you're looking at the text messages. They're engaging in the same criminal activity. It's serving state surveillance. It's serving the elements of monitoring. Operation of the communication device is as relevant to the pattern of conduct with regard to the elements of monitoring. The entity will also engage in what is operation of the communication device while they're group stalking. Remember, a whole entity is acting together to surround. A whole entity is acting together to engage in the elements of monitoring. While I'm particularly documenting, the entity will engage in what is sending messages. SCI does it under the guise of the business of Speaker Companies, which is why Speaker Companies is going to be prosecuted, because a business is a third party where the criminal elements of monitoring is underway and the same exact demonic activity, the demonic behavioral patterns. All they're doing, the demons are just calling themselves Speaker Companies. This is how criminal this is. And it's patently absurd when you're looking at the same light source. This is when it's not funny, but this is why you document, and this is serving for product prosecution. You're looking at the same light source. You're looking at the same impossible light activity. You're looking at the same stalking by helicopter in that specific environment. You're looking at the same behavioral pattern of maintaining presence in the path. Everywhere I walk, I'm taking pictures of, you see people always, somebody's always in the path. Somebody is always present to maintain the ongoing group stalking conduct on behalf of a whole entity. You see one person, you see the entity. They're acting on behalf of the 15,000, in other words, like I was stating earlier. That's a demon. And that's acting on behalf of the demons that are also group stalking in a helicopter. That's the state. That's a threat to your life. All of this is relevant to the specific environment. So you're understanding what is a 24-hour threat that you're subject to while the entity is group stalking you. And they're doing this in the workplace. So the first picture that I take is of this right here. Seconds later, you'll see the next picture I take. Carla Lopez, license plate 9FCX513, immediately opening the door, which is activity creation. And this is the simultaneity of conduct. You're going to see the seconds that pass by. It's essentially immediate. And then I take images of what is the screenshot in order to point out, pay attention to the time frame. This is the entity's pattern of conduct. It's the same thing when I'm operating the communication device in the office, using the phone, calling on the phone, not even a real number most of the time. And then if it's a real number, I call it back. All I have to do is document. They're making up lies about the caller ID. They know exactly who I am. They're monitoring. You already know that because of the light source and the engineered light and the stalking by helicopter. You already know that. Just pointing out the ongoing consistency of the evidence. The entity is opening the door to engage in monitoring conduct while I'm using my communication device. The entity has to, based on what I do as I do it, continuously engaging in the P.O.C. And then as those demons are documented, the entity is what it's doing now, sounding helicopter activity. That's why they're all going to federal prison, including when they're sending emails and the entity stalking by helicopter. This is surveillance that's underway in relevant position and on the venue of the internet. That's why Don Noggle, Kimberly Fletcher, Yolanda Poon. You have the entity that's engaging in what is group stalking and harassment, Teresa Becerra, going to federal prison.
Sorry.
Something wrong with the helicopter out there?
What helicopter?
I hear the helicopter. Everything okay? P.O.C.
Sure.
Psychopath.
Do you have any
Sex offender.
extra rubber fingers?
Demon. No, I don't.
No?
Mm-mm.
Shoot, I left mine in my pocket. All right.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Going to federal prison. That's a psychopath, okay? Oh, I don't know. The helicopter activity is sounding. Monitoring. That's a demon, by the way. That's called malice. That's the demon that physically assaults you on camera. The light source is hovering over my head. They're driving an engineered light and assaults me on camera, okay? And then says, don't hit you. That's what you're dealing with. That's Satan. That's group stalking while the entity sounding helicopter activity, and she's going to federal prison, but that's already secure. But when you want to see the light source that you saw outside of my living room window this morning at 7:14 in the morning, and you saw her at this same exact address yesterday afternoon after 4:30 p.m., she's already going to federal prison. That's the threat to your life that speaker companies and Todd Speaker is going to pay for. Okay, that's the same criminal conduct. And like I said, it logically follows the pattern of conduct does not stop. Obviously, I captured the pattern of conduct yesterday. That's very potent evidence that I captured against a whole entity, including speaker companies. That is not going to survive civil and criminal prosecution. This is going to be a company that's going to be convicted of a crime. Understand, because this is how the government's engaging in monitoring. A company is going to be convicted of a crime, and then I'm going to drain the pockets of that company. And then the employees are going to federal prison. Okay, so I just want to make sure you understand that. In addition to that, I'm showing you the federal stalking aspect of group stalking. On the venue of the internet, the demon possessed know what you're doing. They don't have to look at you. You saw Carlo Lopez walk right under the tent holding his phone. He's group stalking in plain. He doesn't have to hold his phone out, but I'm just letting you know they're engaged in federal stalking, monitoring in plain sight, walking by, crossing path. That's the criminal act. She's engaging in the criminal act all day long, sitting right here. Opening and closing the door while the entity sounds helicopter activity. Oh, asking me, oh, did you get? That's a psychopath. That's a demon. Okay. And I'm glad that they engage in it because the world needs to understand what demonic activity, what the demon possessed conduct themselves as. And this is a demon acting as though she has authority as a regional manager. She does not. This is a psychopath in the same way that the demons in Dominic Choi are masquerading as though they have legal authority. They're going to be prosecuted for very real serious crimes, and they're going to be removed from their positions. As sure as you see those helicopters hovering over this property and you see that light source, Dominic Choi's job is gone. It's over. Okay. The entity is engaged in criminal conduct, and this is a threat to your life. That's the state opening my door, threatening my life in concert with the entity that's sounding. That's a threat to your livelihood in the workplace, and just doing it just like, oh, just it's casual. That's intolerable. And that psychopath's going to federal prison. And she's going for a long time. And then she's going to be deported. She's not even welcome in this country. She's been granted. I believe she's been here for a long time. She's an advanced age, which is pitiful. I believe she has access to minor children, which is horrifying. And she's engaging in what is federal group stalking and monitoring her condition and her criminal conduct, which is highly malicious. She's a threat to the public while she is engaging in this terrorism in concert with the state. So the significance of what I'm capturing this video for is you literally just saw the P.O.C. while a hostile demon opens the door and sounds helicopter activity. That's supposed to scare me. That's what the purpose of that is. That's intimidation in the workplace by an entity that's engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. And Todd Speaker is going to pay for that. Yes. Oh, okay. It is currently, again, 8:37 a.m. Did you bring these for me? All of these are for me? Yeah. Thank you very much. And it is, again, what's today? May 21st, 2024? Thank you. That's P.O.C.